Welcome to Absolute Trust Talk with your host, Kirsten Howe. Absolute Trust Talk brings you tips, tools, advice, and interviews to help you build a reliable knowledge base on estate planning, business, and finance to start preparing for your future today.
Hello and welcome to Absolute Trust Talk. This is our podcast here at Absolute Trust Counsel. I'm Kirsten Howe, and joining me today is one of our associate attorneys, Jessica Colbert. Today, we are recording on the 100th day of President Trump's second term in office, and I'm pretty sure, at least based on what I've seen and heard this morning, we are the only people in any medium who are not talking about the first 100 days of his presidency, although I did just mention it. But we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to cover our topic, which is estate planning during divorce. But before we get into it, I want to mention to our audience that this may be the last time you will see Jessica for a little while. May not be. I'm not sure how the next couple of weeks are going to go. But Jessica is going out on a maternity leave soon. So Jessica, we are going to miss you.
I will miss you too, but try not to miss me too much.
We won't call you at home. We'll leave you alone. We're not gonna invade your maternity leave. Okay, so you may see her next week, you may not. It just kind of depends on all kinds of things, but just wanted to let our audience know. Okay, so as I said, we're going to be talking about estate planning during divorce. What happens in this first episode? I think this is going to be a 2-episode series, I think. We're just going to be talking about what happens if you die or become incapacitated while your divorce is pending. So Jessica, let's start with incapacity, which is our favorite topic. If a client becomes incapacitated during their divorce before the divorce is final, what happens?
So if they have a written estate plan, that will still control. So the person that they've named in their estate planning documents in those various roles, you have your healthcare agent making healthcare decisions for you under your healthcare directive. You have your agent under your durable power of attorney making legal and financial decisions for you. And the person that you've named as trustee to step in and manage your trust assets if you become incapacitated. That person will still take on that responsibility. And almost always that person that you've named for all those roles is your spouse. And if you are in the middle of a divorce, that likely is no longer the person that you want making all those decisions for you.
Right. Okay. And so that's what happens if you become incapacitated and you have a written estate plan. You've already taken care of all the things that we want people to do. What if you don't have a written estate plan?
Yeah. So if you don't have a written estate plan, there isn't someone that just automatically gets it. I think people often assume, oh, my spouse automatically has that authority, and that's not the case. So someone has to pursue a conservatorship in order to get appointed to make those legal, financial, or healthcare decisions on your behalf.
Okay. And this is not an episode about conservatorship, but just to kind of flesh that out a little bit. A conservatorship is a court process where somebody is going to court, they're filing documents saying, this person that I know is incapacitated and they need somebody to legally step in and take care of all the aspects of their life, make all their decisions for them, including healthcare decisions. And a judge then says, yep, you're right, they need that, and you are the one. So that person then has the legal right to go and do all these things. Conservatorship is a long, arduous, and therefore very expensive process. And it can be contentious. If somebody, for example, a soon-to-be divorced spouse steps up and says, I want to be the conservator, other family members might choose to fight that. And then you really get into a big to-do and a big expense. So one of the things we're always trying to do in estate planning is avoid conservatorships. And that is not ideal. So always better to have a written estate plan. All right. So we've just been talking about what happens if you become incapacitated while your divorce is pending. But as estate planners, we also are focused on death. Our 2 favorite topics. What happens, Jessica, if a client dies before their divorce is final?
So if they do not have a written estate plan, then there are, the usual intestacy options, and those are options that occur according to law. We've talked about them in past episodes. But just briefly, jointly held assets such as a jointly held bank account automatically belongs to the other co-owner. Community property assets would then belong to your surviving spouse. Separate property assets would belong partly to your spouse and partly to your children or other family members. And then without a written estate plan, there may need to be some court involvement, either a spousal property petition or a probate, or sometimes both.
Right. Okay. So it's intestacy is intestacy. It's always bad and complicated.
Mhm.
And in the case of a pending divorce, you still have the intestacy problems, but you also have the fact that your spouse who you're trying to get divorced from is probably going to inherit a lot of stuff. Okay. So what about if there is a written estate plan?
If there is a written estate plan, that is still valid and that will still be followed. And, again, typically the plan leaves everything to your spouse. Again, if you're going through a divorce, that is most likely not what you want to happen.
Okay. So the bottom line here, you are married until a judge says you're not married. And that applies in the world of estate planning or lack thereof. And so whatever you've got when on the day you file for a divorce is what is going to happen unless something else happens. So just want to say that's not great, but all is not lost. We do work with a lot of divorcing clients, and we help them solve that problem of, I have this spouse that I don't want to leave everything, and I don't want making healthcare decisions for me. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about on our next episode when we pick this topic up again. Thanks for joining us this time, Jessica. Thank you, as always, for your help and your input. And we look forward to connecting with you next time.
Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Absolute Trust Talk Live. If you enjoyed listening in, then don't forget to subscribe. You can find us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you may listen by searching Absolute Trust Talk. While you're there, we would also love for you to leave us a review. And then why not share your favorite episodes with family, friends, or colleagues too? You can find all of our shows and corresponding show notes by visiting absolutetrustcouncil.com. You'll also find a variety of other free resources, including our ebooks, videos, blogs, presentations, and more. If you need help with your estate planning or administration, we also offer a free discovery call to help get the process started. You can find more information on booking your session by visiting absolutetrustcouncil.com/scheduling. If you join us for the broadcast, you can submit questions during the show. But if not, don't worry. You can always get in touch with us by sending a quick message to info@absolutetrustcouncil.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you soon.
This podcast is not meant to take the place of legal advice from an attorney and does not create an attorney-client relationship. If you do have a legal question or issue, please consult with an attorney.